So, Owen, this is so cool. We got some downtime back from Washington, D.C., all that stuff. Get to work in our garden. Look how big the kale is.
Yeah.
You don't sound enthusiastic. You tired?
I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. You know, I've been having this weird dream. It's really strange. It's like I'm small and I'm in the garden and I'm looking up at the plants. Like I'm under the plants and I'm peering out
Weird.
from the plants.
Yeah.
You know?
Weird. Are you like, do you feel like you're paralyzed, like you can't move or something? Because I've been having some weird dreams too. It's like, you're in the garden. It's like the sun's baking down. There was a dog coming over to sniff me. Yeah, and your clothes are dirty.
You've been having the same dream?
Yeah, I got this is.
You're kidding. I mean, isn't that weird?
Yeah, I think we've been spending a little too much time together. I don't know. Do we need some kind of help, or probably something we can find online.
I don't know. Well, let's get this kale harvested for now.
Yeah. Okay, that's weird. I thought this was a gnome-free zone. Is this a practical joke?
No, I don't know anything about this.
Okay, that's...
Huh?
Somebody broke in and left a... Come on, man. Somebody's leaving gnomes in our garden.
That is a creepy gnome.
And what's that? Another one?
Oh, my God.
Oh, and this is silly.
Look at this. This is weird.
Okay, this is gnome number 2. So,
Two?
okay, if there's 2, there's probably more. I think we have to find all of them. Okay, let's split up.
Look at that! Billy?
What?
What's with your hat?
Okay.
I'm Dana Halverson with Garden Wise Guys Television. Earlier this morning, the Garden Wise Guys were reported missing somewhere in Santa Barbara, California. For more, we go live now on location to senior garden reporter Dominique Blocker. Dom?
Thanks, Dana. Earlier this morning, Garden Wise Guys Billy Goodnick and Owen Dell were reported missing after a chaotic yak stampede during the filming of their latest episode. With anonymous tips pouring in, the Garden Wise news team is scouring Santa Barbara in search of these community treasures. Our search begins at a local residence where the 2 lost wise men were reported to last be seen. Once a lawn, this beautiful Waterwise Landscape was designed by Carol Bornstein, author of Reimagining the California Lawn. With the cost of water rising across the country and Americans becoming more eco-conscious, the opportunities for sustainable landscaping on your property are cropping up all around.
Well, the primary reason for writing about what to do in place of lawns in California, it has to do with their high water usage. Lawns consume up to 50% of all of the irrigation water that is applied to landscapes in California, and that's a pretty high number. And so that was the main motivation, to give people some ideas about different design alternatives as well as plants that they could use in place of very water-consumptive lawns. So what we did was not just focus on the individual plants that you could plant in place of lawn, but different ways to think about how to actually design that space. Not necessarily just a flat green carpet of turf that gets mowed repeatedly, but other types of combinations of plants that you might want to use that would be more interesting visually, provide better habitat for wildlife, possibly even providing food for the table. So we'd explore several different options.
Horticultural consultant and author Carol Bornstein explains there are many different benefits and options for removing a lawn for a more sustainable alternative.
There are a lot of really great design examples here in Santa Barbara that feature different ways to landscape the front garden in particular. So they're well represented here in this particular publication. And here in California, or in Santa Barbara rather, our average annual rainfall varies from about 17 to 20 inches, depending on which part of town you're in. And the vast majority of that rainfall falls in the fall and winter months, and we get virtually no precipitation during the summer other than fog, like a day like today. So in order to keep your lawns green all summer long, you're going to invariably have to irrigate them. So in our long, dry summers, there are lots of other plants, as I mentioned, that can be used. And so it is relevant for Santa Barbara to think about ways to re-landscape that space.
Homeowner Greg Moore took Carol's advice and started reimagining his own front yard.
Mainly to cut down on the water use of the lawn itself. We don't have any kids, and so we don't need a play area. And also, just philosophically, we wanted to go with native plants because we thought that it does provide habitat for insects, for smaller wildlife, for birds, and is just something that is more in keeping with the way we would like to see more people develop their landscapes, rather than with just what I consider really boring turf.
Less than a year later, Greg is already seeing major savings in his water bill.
Our baseline water use for the two of us and one relative that lives here part-time is between 200 and 300 cubic feet a month. And we've actually gone as low as 100 cubic feet a month, which is as low as the meter can read unless it doesn't move at all.
To start, Greg and his family would have to build a strong soil to foster his vision of a new, healthy yard.
The summer before we made the transition, we quit irrigating the lawn, so most of it died off naturally during the summer from the lack of irrigation. But then in the spring of 2006, we started buying the plants and Carol helped Wendy place them where they should go in coordination with the plan that they developed together. And I dug the holes for the most part, which was kind of a task. Sinking a shovel through a couple of layers of wet newspaper is not as easy as it sounds. But the newspaper does deteriorate over time and just becomes part of the soil structure. And one of the things that this technique does is it improves the structure and the microbial health of the soil. And we did that over the course of the spring. It probably took 2 to 2.5 months elapsed time doing it a day or two at a time on the weekends because we were both working. And supplementally irrigated it to get it established through the summertime. And then it's pretty much just taken off from there.
If you water your lawn every day, you waste water. If you flush every time you go, you're wasting water. If you spend more than 10 minutes in the shower, you waste water. If you leave the water running when you brush your teeth, you're wasting water. It may not matter in their world, but it does in ours. For more information on conserving water, please visit sbwater.org.
This just in. Our anonymous tip line has been ringing off the hook. One tipster reportedly overheard Billy Goodnick raving about the benefits of buffalo grass in sustainable landscape, and he referenced a specific location as a prime example. Our news team is headed there now to intercept him.
Thanks, Dana. Although Billy could not be found, it's already obvious to this reporter how right he was about this grass. With all of the options out there for attractive landscaping, lawn is one of the highest water users. For those who want lawn for its lush green look and recreational uses, buffalo grass could be the answer.
So buffalo grass in particular is really wonderful if you think about how it's evolved. Herds of buffaloes, 1,500-pound animals come and chomp the grass down and stomp all over it, and yet it's very resilient with no supplemental water out in the middle of the country where roots are going down 3 feet, 4 feet. Sandy soils I've heard up to 8 feet. Probably not so deep in our clayer or siltier soils out here, but very strong roots, very drought tolerant and resistant, and very hardy to disturbance.
The appeal of this grass isn't just environmental. It also has a basis in science.
UC Verde buffalo grass differs from other buffalo grass cultivars in that it was the only one that's been bred for California. It was bred by University of California at Davis, and the reason why the Professor Lin Wu developed this variety was because buffalo grass varieties that come from the Great Plains states have not performed well here due to extended dormancy and poor establishment and long winter color.
With Santa Barbara's Mediterranean climate, lawns need special attention and a lot of water to keep them happy and healthy.
This grass in particular is unique in that it appears to use probably on the order of about 1/5 to 1/4 the amount of inputs that the traditional turf grasses use that we find around here. So we're looking at watering maybe once a month in summer, a deep water, as opposed to once a week on a properly applied water regime on a normal turf grass. So much less, and as far as fertilizers go, maybe 2-3 fertilizer applications a year, slow release organic fertilizer. And as far as mowing goes, I actually kind of like it shaggy and long and soft, so pretty much mow it about twice a year.
The savings aren't only found in the installation of the grass.
So a homeowner would have a choice of either mowing the grass on a regular basis as they would with any groomed lawn, or they could let it go as a short meadow grass. In the ground, UC Verde will get to be 6 to 8 inches tall. This is going to be the look, kind of a natural short meadow grass look. If they decide to mow, the mowing frequency is going to be at least a half of what it would be for other grasses, particularly cool season grasses. And this flat is also showing probably the deepest green color that this is going to get. A little bit lighter in color than the lawn behind us, and that's just due to fertilization. But it does go a fairly green color, but that's going to be about the extent that it goes.
Despite the similarities between conventional lawns and buffalo grass, the differences in upkeep and water use are stunning.
This last year, we watered it only about 4 or 5 times. This year, we're in May. The first time we watered it was actually 2 weeks ago. First time we've watered it in 6 months, actually, and we mowed it last week. And the reason we actually watered it and mowed it was to apply the fertilizer springtime, just to give it a good base for the growing months in summer. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't even have mowed it yet.
The grass was bred pretty much for all of California except for above 2,500 feet elevation. It handles the Mediterranean coastal conditions quite well, and its main purpose for being bred was about water. It's going to use about 70 to 75% less water than a tall fescue grass. And if we look at our turf in Southern California, mostly what we have is tall fescue, followed by Bermuda and zoysia and some of these other grasses. These grasses are all from areas outside of North America that are experiencing rainfall of 65 inches or more a year, whereas buffalo grass, being a North American native, is much more adapted to much less water. And buffalo grass will get along on more like 12 to 14 inches of water in a year, where a tall fescue might be more like 44 to 48 inches of water a year. So it's an ideal grass for areas of water concern like Santa Barbara.
As the use of buffalo grass grows throughout the state, it is becoming more and more readily available for purchase at your favorite local landscape supplier.
UC Verde buffalo grass is available locally through a number of landscape contractors. Landscape designers and architects are starting to specify it in Santa Barbara area. And more information can be found on this grass on our website, ucverde.com.
With yet another location coming up empty, our crack news team refuses to leave any stone unturned. Just seconds ago, Owendell GWG tweets, "Gone to CC to check out the good dirt there. Hanging with Mikey G. Dominique?
Yes, Dana. We are here at the Lifescape Garden at Santa Barbara City College. Located on this coastal bluff overlooking the Santa Barbara Harbor, the flora here is beautiful. Again, we didn't find the Garden Wise guys, but we did get to learn about this educational and community asset. Every great movement starts with education. The Lifescape Garden at Santa Barbara City College teaches sustainable gardening practices, taking the public one step closer to green.
Right now we're in the Lifescape Garden, which is basically our instructional lab. This is where the classes, the horticulture classes, come down and try out the different kinds of sustainable landscaping and gardening techniques that we teach about. So this is their zone for experimentation and learning.
One of the main points made in the curriculum of the environmental horticulture program is creating and maintaining a healthy soil base to promote plant growth.
The soil here in the Lifescape Garden is basically a well-developed, well-cared-for soil. The origin of the soil that we're standing on is about 6 feet of topsoil that was brought here from West Campus when our West Campus was developed. They did a lot of construction and brought the topsoil over here. And a little background on that is that this whole campus here on East Campus, this point on the bluff where we're standing now is historically a Chumash village and burial site. Lots of things happened here that were part of the Chumash culture. And when they were developing the college here more, at some point they realized this area should not be disturbed, and they took the soil from that campus over there and put it on about 3 to 6 feet of topsoil on top of the native soil, just to make sure nothing was ever disturbed underneath.
In the world of dirt, balance is key. A healthy mixture retains moisture and nutrients to promote robust plant growth.
Well, what makes it healthy is healthy to plants. So plants need to be able to get their water from a soil and nutrients from a soil, derive some kind of anchoring themselves. The soil has to be loose enough that their roots can penetrate and get those nutrients and water, and so their roots can grow deep enough to provide anchorage for themselves so they are sturdy and stable. And usually you need some clay, because clay is a type of soil component that houses a lot of minerals and nutrients and water, but it doesn't give them up easily. So you want some clay, but you also want some sand and silt and organic matter in there too. So all of those components will make a soil that has a lot of nutrients, but also holds onto them somewhat, but also releases them to the plant as well.
Realtors say location is everything. That's as true of real estate as it is of gardening. Depending on its location, your soil might need a little fixing up to be as hospitable as it can be.
This spot in the garden has particularly good soil. This is our food forest area, and we have a diversity of plants that are all meant to be planted intermixed with each other and to assist each other in being healthy. So if I dig into the soil, push back just this kind of what we call the O horizon, or just this undecomposed organic matter, sticks and wood chips and things, we get down to the topsoil and we can dig into it. And we find right here is a moderately good soil. I can kind of tell, because it's not sticking so much together, that it's a clay. When you do a field test of the soil or texture test, you'll be able to squeeze this in your palm and then actually push out a little ribbon. If it was really clayey, I could form a ribbon, just like if it was a piece of modeling clay or something. But this doesn't form that, so it means that there's a good amount of other things besides clay, like sand and silt and organic matter. It's friable, meaning kind of crumbly, which is good. The roots can get through it and penetrate it easily, and there's good moisture and aeration and pockets in it, pockets for the water and the moisture to hang on to.
But it's not all about sand and clay and loam. Sometimes soil needs a little help from some nearly invisible friends that are more than happy to lend a hand.
Compared to the last place I went to, you can pretty much dig down really easily. I can stick my hand in and dig it up. It's got the same soft consistency all the way down. This is a little bit better. It's holding together a little bit better. Not too clay still. Still really couldn't form a ribbon, but just much more soft and aerated. So that's because it's all compost. No compaction happens here. And we keep adding things to keep the balance of the sand, the silt, and the clay and the organic matter at just the right level.
Did you know a leaky faucet wastes up to 15 gallons of water a day? Fix that leak and save thousands of gallons each year. Showers are also potential water wasters. Install a low-flow shower head and save 1.5 gallons a minute. Limiting your showers to 5 minutes saves even more. Overuse of washing machines and dishwashers also waste water. Only run full loads of dishes and laundry. Schedule a free Waterwise checkup and discover other opportunities to save water. Go to sbwater.org for more water-saving tips and start the 20-gallon challenge today.
Hey, how would you like to get paid to install sustainable landscaping? Drip irrigation, mulch, and drought-tolerant plants. It sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Well, it actually is true. Here's what you do. Go to sbwater.org or check with your local water purveyor to find out about Santa Barbara County's Smart Landscape Rebate Program. Free money to do landscaping. I mean, how cool is that?
On the way back to the studio, TV news crews saw a vehicle matching the description of the Garden Wise Guys van parked outside of the home of a local Smart Landscape Rebate participant.
Thanks, Dana. This building's homeowners association recently replaced their water-hungry landscaping with something more sustainable, all while being subsidized by the local water agencies with the Smart Landscape Rebate program, saving them even more money. When confronted about the van, the owners had no comment. Recently, Santa Barbara's Via Miradero Homeowners Association took stock of their landscaping and in the end decided to make lemonade out of lemons.
We had a drainage issue that had been becoming a problem, and so the whole front needed to be regraded. And in doing that, all the landscaping that was here had to be removed in order to do that, which some of us were kind of happy about because it was 1970s landscape, basically ivy, grass, and agapantha. That was it. And an irrigation system that was also from the 70s. So our timer was actually, the gardeners would turn it on, leave for a while, and come back and turn it off. So we felt this was an opportunity for us to not only update the landscape, but do it in the right way, so that we planted drought-tolerant plants and we got a smart controller so we could save money on water and save everybody water.
With the help of Kathy Perret, Water Resources Specialist with the City of Santa Barbara, the transition was a breeze.
Well, partly I've had some experience just being a homeowner and living here in Santa Barbara for over 40 years, knowing the importance of conserving water and also the beauty of using native plants. So we hired Valley Crest Landscape and had a great designer who listened to what we had to say and designed us a beautiful landscape that brought all those elements into play.
However, like with all change, some residents were apprehensive.
There are always people who, even though they might not like the way things are, it's really hard to change. And some of them were a little skeptical. A few said they didn't want it to look like a desert. So we had the plans drawn up, and then we had pictures of all the plants. And we made a display in the lobby where everyone could see it. And then we kept track of the progress as the project went on, and that seemed to really allay a lot of fears.
With a collaborative approach in the development of their landscape project, the Via Miradero community as a whole was able to decide what they wanted to improve.
There was a lot of interest in continuing to have at least a portion of grass, so we only planted back what was here before. So we didn't change the size of it at all, and we chose a drought-tolerant grass.
To promote this kind of landscape makeover in even more locations, the Smart Landscape Rebate Program takes it one step farther by saving you money.
I happened to notice it actually on the Santa Barbara real estate
website. There was a little advertisement for it, and I was just looking, a friend of mine was looking for a house, and I clicked on it, and it was right when we were planning our project, and I thought, wow, you know, this might be something that we could qualify for. So I checked into it, and I was amazed at how easy it was. So we had that sort of built in at the beginning. I told Valley Crest that we were going to do that. So in the planning, they knew that we would need all of the information for the rebate program. And then we had Kathy from the program came out and did a pre-inspection. So she looked at what we had and then gave me some suggestions. And then at the end of the project, Valley Crest had all the information for us on the supplies, and everything that we used that would qualify. And then she came out and looked at it, and then we got a check.
And the end product? Well, it has a little something for everyone.
I love the lavender, and that's the part that's sort of grown in the most right now. Plus the fact that they're not blooming right now, but there's also going to be Matilaha poppies along the side by the lavender. So it also is a great draw for hummingbirds and butterflies. We've noticed an increase in that. So, plus I think it's a really Santa Barbara landscape. Everyone seems to be really happy with it and feels like I do, that it looks more updated, it looks more like a Santa Barbara landscape. And to be honest, I think we all feel good that maybe we're setting an example for some of the rest of the landscapes around, that you can do this and it looks really nice and it's a good idea.
Without any conclusive evidence of their whereabouts, the fate of these two beloved landscape architects is still unknown. However, this news team will not rest until they are found and safely reunited with their families and friends. I'm Dana Halverson, and this is Garden Wise Guys Television.
Hey, so it's good to be back.
Back at the old grind, yeah.
You know what's weird? It's like when we're on assignment. Yeah, boy, good to get back, huh?
Yeah, back in the office, same old stuff.
Can you believe that? Like when we're on assignment, we think we're human or something. We
know.
forget that we're gnomes.
Exactly.
I mean, that's so weird. Which explains the dream, right?
Yeah, we were all panicked. Yeah.
You want some mud there? Oh.
I think it's the same stuff as before we left.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Hey, no. Hey, Norm.
Hey,
what's
Norm the gnome. What's up,
man?
Hey, cool. What you been up to?
Actually, I just got back from Lake Winkadongo.
Yeah.
It was all right. I kind of mucked up the sprinkler systems there. I think I got myself a fungal infection.
Yeah, that happens. You know, when you're like right on the edge of the lawn, and you get sprayed.
But what's with the get-up? Where'd you guys go?
We've been in Santa Barbara. It's like
Santa
Surf
Barbara.
City, dude. You know this.
Oh man, we had our own television show.
Yeah,
it was the Garden Wise Guys. It was unbelievable. We got to do all this cool stuff. We were detectives one time.
Yeah,
and rode in this really cool old car.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, the Journey to the Center of the Earth one.
Journey to the Center of the Dirt. We had to teach people about what to do with their soil. We got chased by like these giant grubs everywhere.
So cool.
Oh, there was this one episode where Owen was like a fireman, and he helped me save my rubber chicken. This is Gertrude. Say hi. Hi. She's a little. Yeah. Well,
she had a tough trip.
I think it was the Panini press.
Anyway, we had so much fun. It was
we were like local heroes.
We're gonna get all the good assignments.
Well, we're gonna just kind of kick back for a couple weeks and see what else.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Oh wait, my phone.
What?
Text message.
Oh great. Is that from the boss?
Yes, it's from the boss. Aren't we? It's probably no. We got a new assignment. We've got to go out.
What is that? That's just latitude.
Yeah, it's just latitude. You
got your GPS here.
Got your GPS.
Why don't they ever just tell us where we're going?
I don't know. They like
to
surprise.
Tell me, just
64 degrees, 48 minutes, 32 seconds north. No. Where we go?
Alaska.
Alaska.
You better change clothes.
Yeah, this isn't going to work. I'm going to get frostbite.
Yeah, but not only just Alaska, but guess where? I bet you can't guess. Gnome.
That's kind of cute. Well, right in. Yeah.
Okay. Gnome.
You know, the cuisine isn't much. We really ate well in Santa Barbara, but the desserts.
What desserts?
Eskimo pies.
Oh.